In the annals of diplomatic history, few events resonate with the same magnitude as the crisis that unfolded between Ecuador and Mexico in the wake of the arrest of former Vice President Jorge Glass. What began as a clandestine refuge-seeking endeavor within the confines of the Mexican embassy in Quito morphed into a full-blown diplomatic conundrum, punctuated by allegations of political corruption, breaches of international law, and the erosion of bilateral relations. To unravel the intricate tapestry of this saga, one must journey through the labyrinthine corridors of power, where ambition collides with integrity, and justice teeters on the precipice of uncertainty. At the heart of Ecuador's tumultuous political landscape lies the enigmatic figure of Jorge Glass, once hailed as a rising star in the realm of Ecuadorian politics. Yet, beneath the veneer of promise lurked the shadows of suspicion, as allegations of corruption and malfeasance cast a pall over his tenure as vice president. His meteoric rise to power, juxtaposed against a backdrop of economic turbulence and political upheaval, epitomized the paradoxical nature of Ecuadorian politics, a delicate balance between progress and peril. President Daniel Nello, a stalwart champion of transparency and accountability, ascended to power on a platform of reform, promising to cleanse Ecuador's political machinery of the rot of corruption. His crusade against malfeasance garnered widespread acclaim, earning him both admirers and adversaries in equal measure. Yet, it was the arrest of Jorge Glass, his erstwhile ally turned political pariah, that thrust Ecuador into the international spotlight, igniting a firestorm of controversy that would engulf the nation in its wake. The events that transpired within the hallowed halls of the Mexican embassy in Quito sent shockwaves rippling through the corridors of power, reverberating across the continent and beyond. The brazen raid orchestrated by Ecuadorian security forces, ostensibly in pursuit of justice, laid bare the fragile underpinnings of diplomatic immunity and the sanctity of sovereign soil. For Mexico, a nation bound by the tenets of international law and diplomatic protocol, the incursion into its embassy represented a grave affront to its sovereignty, a breach of trust that would test the limits of its resolve. President Andrés López found himself thrust into the crucible of crisis, grappling with the weight of responsibility as his nation teetered on the brink of diplomatic rupture. The ties that bound Mexico and Ecuador, once forged in the crucible of camaraderie and cooperation, now strained under the weight of suspicion and mistrust. Accusations of political maneuvering and undue influence cast a shadow over the relationship between the two nations, leaving diplomats scrambling to navigate the treacherous waters of diplomacy. As the dust settled and the echoes of discord faded into the ether, Jorge Glass found himself ensnared in the tendrils of justice, ensconced within the confines of a high-security prison in Guayaquil. His fate, once the subject of speculation and conjecture, now hung in the balance as legal proceedings unfolded with painstaking precision. The courtroom became a theater of intrigue, as lawyers sparred with words and witnesses recounted tales of corruption and collusion. Yet, amidst the chaos and uncertainty, a glimmer of hope emerged, a beacon of resilience in the face of adversity. President Daniel Nello, undeterred by the tempest that raged around him, reaffirmed his commitment to the principles of justice and integrity. His unwavering resolve galvanized a nation, rallying Ecuadorians from all walks of life to stand united in the pursuit of a brighter tomorrow. As the saga of Ecuador's diplomatic odyssey with Mexico drew to a close, the lessons learned reverberated far beyond the borders of either nation. The complexities of international relations, the fragility of diplomatic ties, and the ever-present specter of political corruption served as stark reminders of the challenges that lay ahead. Yet, in the crucible of crisis, there emerged a glimmer of hope, a testament to the indomitable spirit of a nation determined to forge its own destiny. In the final analysis, the unraveling tapestry of Ecuador's diplomatic odyssey with Mexico serves as a cautionary tale, a poignant reminder of the perils that await those who dare to tread the murky waters of power and privilege. Yet, it is also a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, a testament to the enduring power of hope in the face of adversity. And so, as Ecuador and Mexico chart a course forward, may they do so with humility and resolve, mindful of the lessons learned and the challenges that lie ahead. For in the end, it is not the crises we face that define us, but the manner in which we rise to meet them. As the crisis between Ecuador and Mexico continued to unfold, the international community watched with bated breath, cognizant of the implications such a rift could have on regional stability and global diplomacy. Calls for restraint and dialogue echoed across diplomatic channels, as world leaders sought to mediate the escalating tensions between the two nations. Yet, amid the cacophony of voices clamoring for resolution, the underlying complexities of the situation remained ever present, challenging even the most seasoned diplomats to find common ground. For Ecuador, the diplomatic fallout with Mexico represented more than just a rupture in bilateral relations. It was a litmus test of the nation's commitment to upholding the principles of justice and accountability. President Daniel Nello, faced with mounting pressure from both domestic and international quarters, stood firm in his resolve to see justice served, even as the specter of political reprisal loomed large on the horizon. His unwavering determination to root out corruption within the halls of power sent a powerful message to friend and foe alike, a message that echoed the sentiments of a nation yearning for transparency and fairness. In Mexico, the crisis served as a stark reminder of the delicate balance between sovereignty and international obligations. President Andrés López, grappling with the fallout from Ecuador's incursion into its embassy, found himself navigating treacherous waters, where every decision carried weighty consequences. The optics of the situation, compounded by allegations of collusion and political interference, threatened to tarnish Mexico's reputation on the world stage, casting a shadow over its long-standing commitment to diplomatic norms and protocols. As diplomats from both nations engaged in frenzied negotiations behind closed doors, the fate of Jorge Glass hung in the balance, his future uncertain amidst the swirling currents of political intrigue and legal maneuvering. For Ecuador, his prosecution represented a watershed moment, a symbol of the nation's determination to break free from the shackles of corruption and impunity. Yet, for Mexico, his presence within its embassy posed a diplomatic quandary, testing the limits of its diplomatic immunity and sovereign prerogative. As the crisis dragged on, ordinary citizens on both sides of the border found themselves caught in the crossfire, their lives disrupted by the tumult of political upheaval. Economic uncertainty loomed large, as businesses grappled with the fallout from the rupture in trade relations between the two nations. Families torn asunder by the division found solace in the solidarity of community, drawing strength from the resilience of the human spirit in the face of adversity. Amidst the turmoil, whispers of a diplomatic breakthrough began to emerge, a glimmer of hope amidst the darkness of uncertainty. Behind closed doors, diplomats engaged in marathon negotiations, seeking to find common ground on which to build a foundation for reconciliation. The road ahead was fraught with challenges, yet the prospect of a peaceful resolution remained tantalizingly within reach. As the days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, the diplomatic deadlock showed signs of thawing, as concessions were made and compromises reached. A tentative ceasefire was brokered, paving the way for the resumption of diplomatic ties between Ecuador and Mexico. The world watched with cautious optimism, hopeful that the wounds of the past could be healed, and a new chapter of cooperation and mutual respect could be written. In the end, the crisis between Ecuador and Mexico served as a sobering reminder of the fragility of diplomacy in an increasingly interconnected world. Yet, it also underscored the resilience of nations and the power of dialogue to overcome even the most seemingly insurmountable challenges. As Ecuador and Mexico embarked on the long road to reconciliation, they did so with a newfound appreciation for the importance of trust, transparency, and cooperation in the pursuit of peace and prosperity for all.